I think the biggest parts of the story are not necessarily the Blake versus Justin parts. I think a lot of the biggest part of this story is how social media is being manipulated and used on by both camps to further their cause.
It's nice to meet you, Bruce. I'm Renata. I'm from Brazil. I watched the doc and it's really great. And I wanted, first of all, for you to tell me about the challenges of producing this whole different genres in documentaries. You have already produced so many different genres, historical themes like World War II. You got postmodern docs. I mean, which one is the hardest for you to produce?
Wow. Okay. So you did a little bit of homework, but yes,
Yeah,
I have a long and checkered past in documentary filmmaking. To me, good stories are good stories, and finding the best stories is always the goal. To me, this story is just one that fascinated me, but it fascinated everyone around me because it just had so many deeper themes than you might expect. I think this is the kind of story you look at it on the surface and you think, who cares? A bunch of celebrities are mad at each other, some kind of lawsuit, I don't know. And then we're like, no, take a look at what's actually happening here. This is an allegation of sexual harassment in the workplace, which is serious. That's a serious allegation. And then Justin's counter allegation is that she has completely taken control over this film and tried to damage his career. So he's got his own perspective. And it turns out to be a much deeper and richer and complicated story. And in some ways, a darker story than I think people realized. So that's what drew me to this. That and the fact that everybody I brought it up to was like, oh my God, I'm so fascinated by that. Like everybody just seems to be fascinated because neither side is backing down.
Yeah, I hear you.
Social media noticed that Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni were not doing any press together.
Being a journalist, I do well know that a story never dies. I know we have to keep things up to date, but I think this case is something else entirely because it's happening so fast and every day we have like new things coming up. So for you, what were the main challenges of telling the story?
That was certainly one of the biggest challenges is, as we say, when do you put pencils down? When do you say, okay, we're done, we finished? Because as you say, there's more developments seemingly all the time. It did kind of hit a crescendo earlier this year, February, March, which is when we were filming. And there were new revelations all the time, and we kept thinking, we need to get one more interview, or we need to add this. When you're making a documentary for television, the clock is a brutal thing. It is a 1 hour documentary, and that's that. There's only so much you could fit in. Yeah. And I think it was important for us to kind of go back and just explain the genesis of this. And that way you could understand all the new developments as they unfold. But what we really wanted to do was go back as journalists at ITN, make a dispassionate, here are just the facts, here's what happened, and why one thing led to the other, so that the casual viewers can go, oh, right, okay, I heard about that part, but I didn't know about that part.
But the message of the film has been clouded because of the scandal around its stars.
When you think on a case like this, which is happening in the moment with big Hollywood shots, it must be hard to get people on the record to, So how was it for you to come up with the sources, with the people to talk about it? How was it for you to construct this whole thing?
That is difficult. And that is the main challenge of documentary filmmaking like this, is there was a lot of reach out, a lot of pre-interviews, a lot of talking to people, a lot of talking people into appearing if they were a little bit reluctant. But I think part of the advantage we have as ITN is we're known as a news gathering organization. And also ITN is based in London, and Americans tend to be happier about talking to people from London. I don't know why that is, but they tend to just, kind of let down their guard a little bit. I'm based in New York. We shot a lot of this in LA and in New York and other places. It was more about reassuring people that we were not going to take a side and that we were not going to put any words into their mouth or make them appear that they were having, a particular opinion. Because we do have to be careful. This has not been adjudicated. Both sides, both parties are litigious. Our goal was not to have anybody subpoenaed who appeared in the show. And so far, so good. I think Perez Hilton might show up in the trial, but he's been covering this a lot. So
it's Perez, so he's like 24/7 on the subject. But I mean, from what you've heard or from what you haven't heard, because people were probably afraid, or it's a delicate scenario. Do you think there's more to this story, to what's actually being said? I know it's a personal feeling. You're not a judge, you're not a lawyer, but I'm talking about Bruce, the producer, the writer.
It is a big story, and we certainly couldn't tell all of it just within the hour that we had. But I think the biggest parts of the story are not necessarily the Blake versus Justin parts. I think a lot of the biggest part of this story is how social media is being manipulated and used by both camps to further their cause. It's going to make it very hard to find a jury when it comes time for a trial. But both sides have been actively using social media and amplifying certain stories in very subtle ways. You were seeing things about Blake that surfaced after 12 years, and you're like, why is this suddenly online and everywhere? And then you were seeing things about Justin that were suddenly online and everywhere, and that's not an accident. So I think, to me, the larger takeaway and one of the big themes of this entire case is, for us as consumers of pop culture, be careful, be wary what you're watching and what the sources are. This is why it's important to make a legitimate 1-hour journalistic documentary about this topic, so that you can watch it and really feel like, okay, I'm getting the facts and what everybody is saying in an equal and fair and balanced way, because you're not getting that online.
Yeah, for sure.
This is like the most high school fight that people with millions of dollars can have with each other.
I think this whole case has been built on this he said, she said idea, which is the name of the documentary itself. Do you think this strategy will fold until the end of this trial? Or do you feel that we're going to see some major plot twists or some crazy stuff happening along the way? What is your take on this subject?
I think it's going to be very, very difficult in court. And I think the lawyer we talked to in the documentary goes into this a little bit. In a strange way, the facts of the case are not really disputed. They did dance. They did nuzzle a little bit. There was a visit from Taylor Swift. No one says that didn't happen. What they're saying is how they interpreted it, what it meant, and how they felt about it. And for Blake, as a woman, to say, I felt sexually harassed, that's important. That's a legal thing. For Justin to say, I felt like she was trying to take control of the film, that's a legal thing too, but maybe a little murkier. But I think it's going to be very hard to prove in a court of law. I think it will remain he said, she said, because it's about their interpretation of the facts. And you can watch as many videos as you like. Each side will have its own take.
If there were any major shifts and updates on the case, were you willing to produce a new documentary? What's in it for you in this team? Yeah,
I mean, I think if there's more to say, then we're going to want to say it. I mean, we've done this much work on the story so far, and we're absolutely going to stay abreast of it and continue reporting on it, and hopefully make a follow-up, during the trial and after the trial. We'll see if the trial happens.
Can't wait to see it. I would love to get an update too. Thank you so much, Bruce. Sorry, our time's up, but thank you so much.
My pleasure.
It was really nice talking to you here today. Thank you so much. And congrats on the work. It was a really great doc. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
The longer this goes on, the more reputational damage they will suffer.